सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Hari Om. We are going to discuss one of the elocution topic, Gnana Mahima, that is glory of the knowledge. The word Jnanam, when translated in English, it is knowledge. The literal meaning of knowledge is the information and skills that you have gained through learning, understanding, or through experience. For example, if someone is keenly interested in astrophysics, he studies it in depth, does research on that subject, and becomes an expert in that field. That person can then be called a Jnani or scholar in astrophysics. And once he becomes an expert, then he continues his studies in astrophysics and does research again to know what is more there to be known than he has already studied. But the word Jnanam in Bhagavad Gita does not mean expertise in material or objective science. It is something that cannot be gained or learned. It is that realization after which nothing else is there to be known or to be experienced. This knowledge is referred by the rishis as Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is knowing the truth or knowing who I am. Only a person whose mind is purified by good deeds like selfless actions, compassionate approach towards society, by appropriate logical thinking in every situation as guided by our shastras, self-mastery, etc. is eligible for this knowledge. Such an eligible person is called an adhikari in the language of scriptures. There are several occasions in Bhagavad Gita where Bhagavan praises the glory of this knowledge. Verses 34 to 38 in chapter 4 is one among them. In every field, you may require a mentor to guide you to become an expert in that field. For attaining Brahma Vidya, mere reflection by reading the books is not enough. A teacher is necessary. Hence, we require a teacher, that is Guru, to clear our path to the knowledge and guide us there. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya ubadekshanti te jnanam jnaninastattvadarshinah. Once we have a guru in our life, verse 34 talks about how to approach that guru. Following is the methodology to approach a guru. Pranipatena, pariprashnena, sevaya. Pranipatena means to do prostrations or sashtanga namaskar at the feet of Guru. Intellectually, it symbolizes the surrender of the ego of the student at the feet of the Guru. This means now the student is ready to listen and has full faith in the words of Guru to follow his instructions. In other words, this shows the humility of the student. Now, pariprashnena means to ask appropriate questions to the Guru with humility, which reveals students' intense desire for Brahma Vidya. Now, during learning and introspection in the presence of Guru, the student should engage himself in the seva of the Guru. This will help the Guru to understand the student more deeply and teach him accordingly, and this strengthen the relationship between them. He will be able to gauge the intellectual capacity of the student and teach him accordingly. Thus, effortless knowledge transfer takes place from Guru to student. Now, in the second half of verse 34, Bhagavan talks about the qualification of a teacher. A Guru is a Jnani and Tattvadarshi, which means he is a Shrotriya Brahmanishta. That is, he is well versed in scriptures and belongs to a Guru Shishya Parampara, and he is established in the truth. Having said this, a Guru can only impart the knowledge to the student, but when and how the knowledge is absorbed by the student and gets established in it depends upon the student's discipline, practice and purity of mind. Now, after explaining the significance of the eligibility of student and teacher, Bhagavan now reiterates the glory of this knowledge in verse 35 by explaining the results or experience after enlightenment. Yajñātvā na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanyasheshena drakshasyatmanyatho maya. After achieving enlightenment with the help of a Guru, the student will no longer be deluded. He will see that all the beings are within Bhagavan. Moha or delusion literally means a false belief. We believe that we are our body-minded intellect because of avidya or ignorance. As we misapprehend ourselves to be a limited being, we feel that we are incomplete. In order to fill this void, we desire for several things in the world. Thus, we try to make favorable situations to fulfill those desires. Thus, we do not act righteously because we act according to our likes and dislikes and thus devolve in life. You can see more about this in verse 62 and 63 of chapter 2 and also in Gurudev's commentary. Now, in the light of knowledge, the darkness of ignorance will perish. You will rise above the identification with the body, mind and intellect. Then you will see that nothing is separate from Ishvara. The whole world is Ishvara, including you. Thus, you will no longer feel limited and incomplete. Then there is no place for desires. Your perspective towards the world will change and you will interact in the world without any likes and dislikes. Now, Bhagavan glorifies this knowledge in verse 36. Api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamaha sarvajnana plavenaiva vrajinam santarishyasi. He says, even the greatest of the greatest papi will achieve liberation from all the papa he had done till the time of enlightenment. This means this knowledge is so potent that even a papa krittama, that is the greatest papi, can also attain it. Papa is the actions that are not done according to our scriptures. In other words, papa is the unrighteous actions which are done by a person which makes unfavorable situations for that person to suffer. Now here Bhagavan compares knowledge to a boat and papa to an ocean. One can cross over the ocean of papa in boat of knowledge. This can be well understood by the story of Valmiki Rishi. He was formerly a dacoit named Ratnakar. Then Devarshi Naradji appeared in his life as a guru and cleared his path to the knowledge and he became enlightened. Thus, in other words, a dacoit named Ratnakar crossed the ocean of his papa in the boat of knowledge and reached the shore as Valmiki, a sannyasi who attained liberation. Yadhaidhamsi samidhognihi bhasmasat kuruterjuna jnanatni sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. Just like the fire reduces a log into ashes, the fire of knowledge burns all the actions into ashes. Here Bhagavan compares knowledge to fire and sarvakarma to wood. Sarvakarma means all the actions, good or bad, accumulated during all the previous births of a person till the time of enlightenment. In Gurudev's words, action leaves reaction, and these reaction mature at different periods of time depending upon the quality and intensity of actions. Good actions give good results, bad actions give bad results. Knowledge eliminates all these actions just like wood is eliminated and has been turned into ashes by the fire. Now while explaining the sacredness of this knowledge in verse 38, Bhagavan gives assurance to the seekers that if they continue their disciplined practice, they will surely reach the state of enlightenment. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate tatsvayam yoga samsiddhaha kalenatmani vindati. He says there is nothing purer than Brahmavidya. The word pavitram literally means pure or sacred, not tainted by anything. For example, pure gold has only but gold in it. Similarly, this knowledge is the purest. It is untainted by the selfishness since it inspires the sacrifice of the ego at the altar of the Lord. In other words, when one gets established in it, one is not separate from the Supreme Lord. The word pavitram also means that which makes others pure. Consider the example of Gangaji. Even though the Gangajal is on a muddy basin, it can purify our body and soul. Similarly, this knowledge is the purest. It can clean the impurities of the mind caused by ignorance. Bhagavan also says, when you start walking the path of spirituality, the liberation, which is the final destination of the journey, may take time. But don't be disappointed. Strive to be a yoga samsiddha. That is, the one whose mind is purified by good deeds, selfless actions, spiritual practices and meditation. You will definitely reach the goal by yourself in the course of time. To conclude, this knowledge is inseparable from us. But we are not able to realize this as we consider ourselves to be limited beings in this colossal world. We are bound by our emotions and thoughts of past, present and future. The final enlightenment is when one realizes that I am complete. For this, we have to look within. Scriptures and Guru helps us to do so. And thus gradually, we will realize the one truth. Let me end this quoting our Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji. There is nothing more sacred or more potent than this knowledge of the self. It is the key to happiness, success and prosperity. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you. Hari Om.